So, before I start this video, I wanted to put out some disclaimers. I need to read from my notes because I actually had to write something down. First thing is, I have a bias, for the PlayStation 4. Now, the reasons I do is because I played the PlayStation 3, and the reason I'm saying this is because one of the subs on the channel actually pointed out to me on my last video about, the crossplay issue. I seem to be slightly biased towards Sony. Now, I do have a bias toward them, but second thing I wanted to put out there is I'm not trying to defend Sony. Now, if I come out as defending Sony, then I've probably contradicted myself, which I'm human and that can happen. But I don't mean to do that. I'm trying to point this out from a business perspective. And then the third thing that I wanted to put out there is crossplay is actually a good thing. It's a good initiative. It's going to actually help, tear down, the wall that separates, all the different platforms on multiplayer games. And then finally, I wanted to just make it known that I think, and this is my, opinion, that Sony is actually making this move, rejecting Microsoft, because it's a financial decision. It's clearly a financial move. So, before we jump into all of that stuff, let's look at this article from like 7 years ago. I was Googling, I had to Google, was there a time, because there was talk around the internet, the forums and stuff. And this is the only article that I can actually find, because this article was written by a reporter who actually had an encounter and this whole crossplay thing. So it's solely his account of the whole situation. And so what is he saying here? The title of the article said, I saw the PlayStation 3 wired to play against an Xbox 360, but you won't. So, I'm supposed to be telling you about a new video game called Defiance, but I have to tell you something else. I saw one guy controlling the game on an Xbox 360, another was playing on a PlayStation 3. But they were playing the same game on their two distinct consoles with each other. I thought the cool thing about the Trion's upcoming shooter MMO Defiance was that the players of the console and PC game will somehow affect what happens on a related Sci-Fi Channel TV show. That's why I went to meet the Defiance people. But I've got to keep pointing this out. This was one game on shard of a game world, and yet I saw it played on two TVs hooked up to an Xbox 360 and a PlayStation 3 that were linked together for multiplayer. I'd experienced science fiction from Defiance, but I didn't expect this. It wasn't a magic trick. It was multiplayer console gaming without borders, and it won't be coming to a home near you. Now, move on within this article. He actually goes on and actually says that he went by himself, like he went and spoke to the guys there, the Defiance folk and all that good stuff, and said, so why can't we get something like this? And they pretty much straight up told him, it's a decision that's, that's with the big top guys over there on the corporate side. So he says officially, and the guy actually admitted to him and said, those consoles were actually developer consoles. I want you guys to read this article too, so you can actually pull some stuff from it. And so he according to this article, he actually felt compelled to go check with Microsoft. Now, he said, I checked with Microsoft to be sure that Rodberg, who's the guy that actually told him, something, wasn't maybe just mishearing them. Maybe Microsoft wanted to break the barrier too. Maybe he was thinking maybe Microsoft might want to break the barrier, and Sony had actually put forth an invitation according to this article. And he says, here's a Microsoft person saying no while promoting how awesome the Xbox 360's online service is. Xbox Live delivers the best entertainment experience unmatched by anyone else, with 35 million actively engaged members. We have a high level of expectation for our game developers to ensure that all live experiences remain top-notch. Because we can't guarantee this level of quality or control the player experience on other consoles or gaming networks, we currently do not open our network to games that allow this crossover capability. So they were saying Xbox 360 is the best place to play. So when the Sony executive said the same thing, everybody said, oh, he's being proud. Honestly, there might be an undertone of, a side swap to that comment that he made. Maybe might be a jab that a lot of people may have forgotten, that Microsoft actually, opened their mouths to iterate. Now, I understand that leadership has changed. I saw that in one of the forums. I can't remember which one. And someone said, just so you know, leadership has actually changed from the time this little small isolated incident happened, till now. Now, if it had gone anywhere, if Microsoft had actually said yes, do we know that Sony would have said yes? Probably not. Maybe there's more information somewhere, but this is on the surface and I'm combing through this and I'm actually seeing this. Now, again, there are also a lot of people. So this is what somebody said. Someone said players of Final Fantasy 11 say that they've been able to connect the PlayStation and Xbox 360 versions of that game together. The game's creators of Square Enix even boast about their game's platform agnostic sharing of worlds on their site. Though not having played Final Fantasy 11, I must confess that I'm having a hard time nailing down just how cleanly and completely that MMO's Xbox 360 to PS2 cross-console play is supported. And then he updated it. He said several, Final Fantasy 11 players have confirmed that cross-platform play, that the cross-platform and cross-play region play is fully supported, no strings attached. So there probably is some cross-play going on from the old generation, but Xbox actually, from their representative here, actually said no to this. Now, this may not have been the official statement of Microsoft Xbox at that time, like I mentioned earlier in this video, but it's something to point out. And I think genuinely, and I'm probably going to make another video about this. This is probably going to be a two-part video. I genuinely think Microsoft, according to Polygon wrote an article and said Microsoft has a platform exclusive problem. And it's an article I'm going to show you in the next video. And what I wanted to point out there is this. Microsoft and Xbox have not necessarily put out many exclusives and that are enjoying the success. I said this in my last video, but actually when I started doing some more research, the problem is actually much more, deeper than we actually know. And some people in the forums have been talking and, putting ideas into my mind. These are not necessarily independent ideas. These are ideas from people who are actually saying that they think that this might be a PR move to actually shed more light, to bounce the attention off of them and put that attention on Sony. Because really, Sony has actually been investing heavily, everybody knows this, on their console exclusives on PlayStation 4. But here we see Microsoft having said no when they were enjoying critical success, just as Sony is enjoying right now. So the technology is there. It's going to actually provide, a lot of value to players. I'm not going to stay here and say I'm not wishing that my guys that I bought the Xbox, I bought an Xbox to play with my buddies and they didn't have time, so I sold it. Now, I would be happy if some games actually opened, the cross-platform play so I can whoop them on, FIFA and PES and some other games. But that's not happening, at this point. And so what I wanted to say is Sony is definitely making this decision, in my opinion, for their own financial benefit. I genuinely think a lot of people saying what it's, I had some, comments on the channel saying, what does Sony have to lose? To be honest, I don't really know. But many people agree that it's a financial decision. And some people are saying, oh, it's just corporate greed. I'm like, when has a corporation not ever been greedy? If you tell a corporation not to make money, they'll probably scoff at you and walk away. And so, yeah, that's the business perspective of this discussion. The gamer's perspective of this discussion, though, so let's move the business side and put it in a corner. The gamer's perspective right now is to say, no, Sony, you need to calm down and stop, whining and, forget the past and make crossplay a thing. So that because once crossplay opens up, man, it really opens up big time because the developers, they're not going to care. If somebody was maybe hesitant to buy a video game and, because they have an Xbox and their friends all have PS4s and they're like, well, I don't want to buy this game because I'm not going to be able to play with you guys. I think it translates to increased sales for the development companies. But on the console side, think about this. On the console side, those games that have actually forced people to actually buy the other console because of their friends are now going to find out there's no need for doing that. And then guess what? Even in the future, with the new platforms and the new consoles coming out, people are going to expect for that to happen. So how is Microsoft and how is Sony, how are they going to pay their shareholders? I know Sony and Microsoft, they have shareholders. How are they going to make the business profitable? If people now see, well, it doesn't really matter. I'll just buy whichever one I prefer. And, Sony now has to actually fight a lot more than they already have to win this console generation by exclusives. So now it's going to be a different kind of fight. So I think Microsoft is deflecting the attention from itself. And some people said it's just a last minute move to actually, it's a lot because they have nothing to lose. Definitely. Microsoft has nothing to lose in this console generation if crossplay is enabled. I don't know if anything they can lose. I mean, their reputation right now is no games. That's what it is. And Sony, I think they have some kind of interest to protect. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know what the thought process is, but I know it's a financial decision. And so that's my take on this. Not wanting to defend Sony or something, but me and one of my subs, we actually had some really good discussion. I really enjoyed, buddy. Thanks so much for putting that comment out there. because you made me to actually think further about the kind of, you know, my mindset. And I asked him a question. I said, you know, if you were like an exec and you had to make this business decision, would you do it? And he said yes. And he actually gave some solid points as to why he was going to do it. And I found myself sitting there thinking, I wouldn't do it because I'm competitive. Like, I want to win. If I was playing on the Sony team, or if you even reverse the script and I was on the Xbox, you know, team, and we were winning and we had 60% of the market share and I was to make that decision, I would still tell Sony no, because I just don't want them to win like that. Now, that's at the detriment, or that's not convenient or beneficial to the gamers. But that's where business and consumer, that's where the business decisions and consumer, you know, consumer desires, that's the rub. Sometimes there's a friction in there. But Sony right now is delivering as promised. Microsoft has not necessarily delivered in the area of exclusives. There are aspects where Sony, you know, didn't win, and when they, you know, reportedly said that there wasn't going to be any, you know, PlayStation Plus was going to be free. And then they put PS Now, PlayStation Now, old PlayStation 3 games for rent, for a monthly subscription. That was a fail on their part. So Sony does have its own monsters or skeletons in the closet and stuff like that. So that's all I wanted to say. Please leave comments. Let's continue this discussion. I'm really enjoying myself, you know, talking about these issues. And I wanted to hear what you guys think. So I'm going to get out of your hair. Thanks for your time listening and watching. Hit the subscribe button for more in-depth discussion on gaming, on the gaming scene. And I guess I'll see you in my next video. Peace.